Next fight coming up here, we've got another UFC newcomer. Lauren Murphy, 13-4, had Cynthia Calvillo unfortunately pull from the fight, which I'm very sad about. That was a great fight. And instead, we have Liliya Shakirova, who is 8-1, making her UFC debut. Now, Matt, I got to tell you, I was going to hammer Lauren Murphy. She was plus 180 against Cynthia Calvillo, and I was loving that dog spot. I hope they rebook that fight because I think Lauren Murphy is live as hell against Cynthia Calvillo with that takedown defense and how heavy she is on her legs and her hips and forcing people to stand with her, and then she drops bombs. Lauren Murphy is basically the female Chuck Liddell, in my opinion. She uses that wrestling in reverse, and then she just puts a beating on people. Liliya, on the other hand, though, she's 8-1, and at first, it's hard to find footage on her. I saw a little bit of her work, and I wasn't a huge fan of what I saw. And then I found another fight or two, her more recent ones, and she's not half bad. She is solid on the feet. She is willing to stand in the pocket and trade. She's got big clinch knees. She's got a big left hand. She can hit hard, and she works behind a very intelligent jab. She's also got good timing on her blast double leg takedowns and nasty ground and pound if she gets on top of you. I'm pretty impressed with what I see from her. I think Lauren Murphy's a tall order in her UFC debut, but this girl's not half bad.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pass on this fight, but there could be an interesting angle to play it. So we have somebody coming in late, a late replacement, who the limited amount of footage I got to see on her, although I heard she's good on the ground, I didn't really get to see too much ground, because I saw her striking a little bit, and it looked like she's going to stand in the pocket, but she's going to give up 3 inches of height, and she's going to have massive reach and height disadvantages against a girl who can really bang here. And it's a last-second replacement, and we know sometimes with those last-second replacements, making your UFC debut, everything that goes into it, these people tend to have energy dumps. And we know in women's MMA and fights like this total is probably going to be 2.5 over minus 300, literally that high, 250. It's going to be a big, huge, giant minus on the over. Well, what's the best chance for Murphy to get it done is maybe these two, maybe the newcomer has a really good first round, but that height, reach, and power disadvantage is going to come into play. And I'm wondering if early on it doesn't look somewhat competitive, but as the person taking the fight and having to do that weight cut last minute tends to fatigue into round 2 and 3, if Murphy doesn't pour it on her and get a stoppage, maybe if it's 2.5 under, like plus 200 or plus 220, it's worth a quarter to a third of a unit flyer.
I like the way you think. This is a very, very rare spot where you've got two women who are finishers, and they match up extremely well. I think you're onto something that the under might be a sneaky value spot here, and honestly, to me, that's maybe the only play on the board. The only other thing I would look at is maybe even playing the round props on Lauren Murphy. We've seen her knock girls out in the third round before. And getting Lauren Murphy in round 2 and Lauren Murphy in round 3, those are going to be gigantic plus lines because the books always think the women's fight are going the distance. And from what I've seen from this Liliya, she's going to be game in round 1. I don't expect her to fall over easy. But like you said, that last minute weight cut, that last minute travel, that might start to wear on her. And Murphy round 3, that might be worth a little sprinkle.
And I'm wondering if she's not, you know how it is on the regional scene. These guys don't have the same data scientists and, dietitians professionally showing them how to cut weight. It seems to me like maybe she should be fighting a weight class lower at her height and reach and body frame. It seems like, look, if you have the money and you're one of these, this is the difference between becoming a super elite professional fighter and a guy like Joaquin Buckley who works at Walgreens still, despite getting the 50K off that huge knockout, is the ability to take that money then and take the next step in your evolution and hire these dietitians and all these health and people to get you to be able to cut weight the right way and really shape your body the right way. And it feels to me like these two might be fighting a weight class apart, and I wouldn't be surprised if they stand there and bang. While it may start off competitive, it may get ugly late.
I completely agree. And the other thing to think about, I know the level of competition is already staggeringly different with the one coming from outside the UFC to the inside of the UFC, but Lauren Murphy was not training for a cupcake. She was training
No.
for Cynthia freaking Calvillo, who's basically been penciled in as the next big thing in whatever division she's training in. So she was ready to go for a damn near number one contender type of fight. This is not just any short notice replacement. This is a massive jump up in competition level with being the smaller fighter, with being on short notice. I think that Lauren Murphy could almost command as a parlay piece, in my opinion, in this spot.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see her losing this fight. And I think as it goes on and gets out of the first, it's more and more likely that she may also win by stoppage. I think you're going to see a young lady who looks and probably is really in terms of fighting a weight division above. And boy, can she bang. I know she's 37 years old. And maybe, it's now or never for the peak of the mountain, but boy, can she bang.
Absolutely. She's a dark horse in that division, in my opinion.